Well, good morning, and thank you all for being here. I'm Amy Jacobs, the Commissioner at the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning, and on behalf of Governor Deal and First Lady Sandra Deal and the many state officials and child care advocates with us here this morning, I want to welcome you to the Capitol for the proclamation of a very simple but important message of Look Again. Leaving children unattended in vehicles has become a leading cause of non-traffic vehicular deaths across the nation. Outside of car crashes, heat stroke is the #1 killer of children. In the last 2 years in Georgia, 3 children have died as a result of being left alone in a car. An 8-month-old girl, an 11-month-old boy, and a 13-month-old boy in the care of relatives. These are the tragedies we are trying to prevent. As the state agency responsible for licensing and regulating the child care industry in Georgia, we at the Department of Early Care and Learning have made the health and safety of Georgia's youngest citizens in child care a top priority. We have demonstrated this priority by increasing our focus on transportation safety. In fiscal year 2014, we investigated 18 cases where children were left in vehicles by child care providers for extended periods of time and survived. We're happy to report that through raised awareness and continued training, only 8 incidents were substantiated in fiscal year 2015, and only 7 incidents so far in fiscal year 2016. This is a good trend, but leaving even 1 child unattended in a vehicle is 1 child too many. Please note, this is not a problem exclusive to child care providers. More often it happens while children are in the care of their own family or friends. And so today's warning goes out to not only child care centers, but to communities, to neighborhoods, to schools, to places of worship. Anywhere children gather are cared for and are being transported. That's why, again, this year we are honored to be joined by the Governor and the First Lady and these state officials and child care advocates in reminding the general public to never leave a child alone in a vehicle, even for a minute. And when you've checked your vehicle to make sure everyone arrives safely and is out of the vehicle, look again and be sure to close and lock the doors of your vehicle. Vehicular heat stroke is a year-round problem. It can happen even when temperatures are in the upper 50s, but it becomes particularly serious over the summer months when the average temperature in Georgia reaches 88 degrees and higher. We believe that lives will be saved if these simple warnings are heard and heeded. At this time, I am honored to introduce one of the most ardent advocates for the well-being of children here in our great state of Georgia, Governor Nathan Deal. And again, thank him for the attention he and the First Lady bring to this very important issue. Governor Deal.
Well, thank you very much, Amy. Thanks for your leadership on this and many other areas that are important to the children of our state. We're here today to talk about something that is a preventable issue. Like many things that happen to children, with the proper precautions, they can be prevented, and this is certainly one of them. We know that a child's body temperature rises 3 to 5 times faster than an adult, for example. And all of us have from time to time found ourselves in a hot vehicle, and we have, as adults, usually the capacity to do something about it. My wife will say, turn up the air conditioner a little bit. But children don't have that option, especially when they're left alone in a vehicle. So there are 3 groups that we are primarily talking to and targeting today. And you're going to fit into at least probably 2 of those groups, maybe even 3. The first group is those that are in the child care business. We have some 5,300 licensed child care providers, and I am told that on a daily basis there are about 370,000 children who are in their care. That means that they have great responsibility associated with the care and the education of those children. And many times it includes the transporting of those children, which means they're in a vehicle. Maybe it's a car, maybe it's a van, maybe it's a bus. But to them, we just simply want to say, thank you for what you do, but please be sure that you train your workers and your employees to understand the importance of looking again. When they've done everything that they think they have done correctly, take a little time more and look again. And then the second group, of course, happens to be parents, grandparents, relatives, friends, others who, for whatever reason, have responsibility for taking care of young children. We're all in a hurry nowadays. We generally are rushing from one place to another, and unfortunately, sometimes in our haste, we forget to look again. A child that might be perceived as one that will definitely let you know they are there because they're either crying or talking, maybe even screaming from time to time. But when that child goes to sleep in the back of the car and becomes quiet, it is sometimes easy to forget that they're still your responsibility. So, when you get out of your car, make sure you look again, and that will be one of the important things. And finally then, to the rest of us, this gets everybody. Sometimes we live in a society where we think everybody is minding everybody else's business, and we resolve that we're not going to be that kind of person. This is one of those areas where I ask you to set those inhibitions aside. When you see a child in a closed or locked vehicle and they're by themselves, don't waste any time. Time is precious. Call 911. We have law enforcement officers and emergency medical personnel who are trained to respond to those circumstances. Now, it may be that after you place that call, the parent or whoever is responsible for the child may return to the automobile or the vehicle before the 911 responder arrives. That's okay. They may be a little bit offended, but it's better for them to be offended than for their child to be dead. So, take responsibility. This is a day in which all of us can remind ourselves that in our hurried and busy lives, when it comes to the care and well-being of children, it pays to take a little more time, and it pays to look again. Now, I'm pleased to call on the First Lady at this time, and she is great about reminding me about things I have forgotten to do. Our children are all grown. Our grandchildren are of an age where this is probably not a problem for them. But as you know, she is focused on the well-being of children, whether it be from their ability to read as early as possible to other issues surrounding their well-being in the future. And this is one of them. I'm pleased to call on Sandra at this time.
Thank you all so very much for being here to show your concern and interest in our children and their safety. You know, there is, to me, nothing more important than the life of a child, because that's something we work so hard to get the child here, and then to lose it because of carelessness is just a terrible thought. And so we spend our time trying to improve the lives of our children and make life better. And I'm grateful that I can go to the schools. We have our school superintendent here with us today. And I'm allowed to go into the schools and read to children and encourage them to have a future and desire a future, to work toward it. And yet sometimes we are careless and we fail to follow through and protect our children. We work in a lot of different ways to protect them, but one of the best ways is to make sure that they are safe in the cars. We want to make sure they're safe on the water. We want to make sure they're safe everywhere, the way they sleep. But we especially are drawing attention today to the safety of looking again in the car. One life is too many. One child who is scarred from that, even if they survive. But you know, we also have to think about the adults, the older folks who might be sitting in a car and get so hot. And children or adults who have infirmities, who can't get out and walk so quickly to the store, sometimes get left in a car. And they're forecasting that our heat is going to be so great in the next few days. We must take precautions and take care. I've thought so many times, how do we protect these children? And in the children in particular, because they usually ride in the back seat, because it's a safety for them to be in the back rather than the front, where we have airbags. And so it has been suggested that you put things that are important to you that you will carry with you into the workplace, into the grocery store, into the house, like your pocketbook or your keys or your cell phone in the back floorboard, so that when you get out of that car, before you close it and lock it, you look in that back seat and you are sure that that child is out of the car. You take that child with you, and along with your pocketbook or briefcase or cell phone. And if by chance they are on a van or a bus, you walk down those aisles and make sure they're not asleep in the back, because sometimes they're so small that they disappear in the seat and you're not aware unless you walk back through there. Our children are so precious, and we want to protect them in every way. I chose to wear the swan pin today because as we visit at the river in the cabin for a relaxation, if you watch the birds, especially our Canadian geese, they will attack anybody or anything that comes along to harm their babies and to harm their nest even. They don't want you getting close. We have to be just as aggressive in protecting our children, to protect our children from the dangers of being left, whether by us or someone else. And that means education. So we are grateful to all of you who will publicize this. Talk to your caregivers, talk to your family, talk to children elsewhere and other people, and let them know how important it is to be responsible. And we have a video that we're going to show that we hope you will share with others as you have the opportunity, because that will maybe plant that seed a little deeper. And remember to fight for our children, because they are our most precious resource. And we want everyone to always look again. Even if you're just passing by the car, look again and be sure that the children in those cars are safe. Thank you.
Here in Georgia, summertime means school's out, time for vacations and family fun.
It also means warmer temperatures, and the heat inside a closed car can quickly rise to dangerous, even deadly levels.
That's why we're reminding you to always look again and never leave children alone in a vehicle.
Look Again is an important reminder not only for child care providers, but also for parents, grandparents, friends, anyone caring for a child.
When you arrive at your destination, look through your car to make sure everyone is out safely. Then look again.
If you see a child left alone in a vehicle, call 911 immediately. Every minute counts.
Help us spread this important message by visiting our website or following us on Facebook and Twitter. Everyone can play their part. Right, Callie?